Good afternoon, everyone. Well, happy to welcome you to Music Biz's Common Ground webinar series once again. I'm Aired Dec, part of the Music Biz communication team. We're excited to have Linkfire with us today to talk about turning marketing buzz into actual revenue and fan engagement for your artist and for your artist brand. But before we get started with today's presentation, I won't take up too much of your time. I'm a little under the weather and nasally, so you won't be listening to me too much. But I just have a couple of housekeeping notes I want to run through. In order to connect with one another during today's session, be sure to change your chat settings to everyone. That way you all can network with one another. And if you have any questions for our presenter today as we walk through the session, be sure to use the dedicated Q&A box on your Zoom dashboard. We'll be answering those as we wrap up at the end of the session here. Quickly, just want to run through a couple of Music Biz-centric announcements. We just earlier today announced the headline keynote for our Nylon Connect 2022 conference held in partnership with Music Ally. Hartwig Masich, the CEO of BMG, will deliver an interview on Thursday, January 20th at noon. You can visit nylonconnect.com or our website, musicbiz.org, for information on the full 4-day program taking place January 18th to the 21st via Socio. And it's not quite the escape from virtual yet, but we are excited to bring you to Socio so that way y'all can network with one another just like we're able to do in past Nylon conferences. So bring all the excitement of Nylon to your home January 18th to the 21st. Be sure to visit our website or nylonconnect.com for more information. Earlier this week, we closed call for presentations for Music Biz 2022. That event is set for May 9th to the 12th of next year at the JW Marriott Nashville. For more information on that, as we'll be rolling out new information on our conference in the new year, be sure to visit our website or musicbiz2022.com. You can register for the event early as well. We also announced for any students or educators in the crowd, our next Gen U event, going to be another virtual student summit taking place February 15th to the 17th, excuse me. And you can find information and register for that too by visiting our website. All of this is on the main page, musicbiz.org. Finally, our last webinar of the year will take place next Thursday. It's a discussion on involving creators' rights with Utopia Music and Media Research. That'll take place next week at noon, as opposed to our normal 2 p.m. Eastern time for that webinar. But enough about future webinars, you're here for today's. So I'm pleased to welcome Simona Lezo from Linkfire. Simona, take it away.
Thank you, Eric. Hello, everyone. I just need a second to set up the screen sharing over here. Yeah, do you guys see my screen? Eric, maybe you can give me a, that works. Somebody's saying yes, I guess. All good, thank you. Cool. Simona here. Thanks for the introduction, Henrik. You've pronounced my last name perfectly. Quick intro about myself. I'm Simona Lezo, joining today from Copenhagen, Denmark. I'm based here, where I work from a company called Linkfire. I've been with Linkfire for a bit over 3 years now. My background is in digital marketing. I spent over 10 years in different digital marketing roles. And I'm not a musician myself, but I love music and I enjoy dancing. I listen to over 100,000 minutes of music each year. The number starts to go down since I spend more and more time in meetings. I also really enjoy working with data, and I think that marketing without data, it's a waste of time and money. So I'm going to be speaking a bit about that today. A small promo slide about Linkfire for those of you who might not be familiar with the name. I'm just going to do a quick 1 minute about who we are and what are we doing. Not that much because I expect you guys to buy anything from us, but because it might make sense for the rest of the webinar and for the content that you have some context about who we are. So we're a marketing platform built for the creative industries. We're lucky to work with thousands of artists, and some of the biggest labels are also using Linkfire for running campaigns. Our headquarters are here in Copenhagen, Denmark, but we're quite an international team, growing and recruiting. So if some of you are also looking for jobs, check out our website. And yeah, we have offices over here in Copenhagen, but also in LA, Los Angeles, Lisbon, and since this year, we've established an office also in Ghana. What are we doing in practice is that we have a marketing and data analytics platform that has been built for the music industry. We use smart links to help artists and their teams to promote their music, their brand, and to get more data around their campaigns. That's all with the promo minute. Let's move on to the agenda and see what I've prepared for today's webinar. I would like to start with a quick review of the state of data in the music industry, followed by a short introduction to, let's say, how mature marketing teams measure success. After that, I will look at how fans, or how to run marketing for fans that are at a different level of engagement, and how to turn strangers into super fans. In between, so we don't have that much academic content, I'm going to break it with some campaign breakdowns with examples and so forth. And then towards the end, we're going to take some questions and answers if we're in good time. Okay, then let's get started with the state of music data. What do I mean with this? When thinking of let's say the music business, and like what are the ingredients of making good revenue, or of making or having success in the music industry, one might think that, you know, if you make good music and you promote it well, money will follow, right? Revenue will follow. But if you've been running campaigns or running marketing for artists, you will know that this is a very simplistic approach, and there's many more ingredients to the mix. You've also probably know that marketeers running music marketing are asking themselves maybe almost every day questions like, what is good marketing? What channels which channels do work? Which channels don't work? What creatives bring results? Which of them are not worth investing? And especially, how much money should I invest in order to get more streams, to get more merch sold, and so forth? In most of the digital products, I would say, mapping this investment to return or to revenue, it's, I would say, maybe not linear, it's not easy, but it's easier than in the music industry. You basically invest some budget that attracts you some customers, and if you've been in the business for a while, you most likely know on average how much does a customer buy from you, and also you will know what is on average. I'm speaking averages. How many times on average does a customer repeat that buy? So with these two metrics, you would be able to calculate the lifetime of a customer, and that is, again, on average, if a customer spends this much money and repeats that buy several times, how much do we make from that customer? That happens with web shops. It happens with subscription businesses. Maybe let's look at the example of Apple Music. For example, if you are Apple Music and you're attracting fans or attracting are looking into getting more subscribers, you can calculate that Apple Music subscription, it's about $10 a month, and if on average subscriber or user stays 25 months with Apple Music, they would have a lifetime value of $225. So if Apple Music would want to calculate the return on investment on that, they would be if they would be aiming for a 3-to-1 return on investment, they would be spending having this calculation would spend $75 for attracting a new customer if the return on investment wished would be 3-to-1. If they would want to spend maybe half of what they are making, or if they need to invest more, then they can spend up to $112, which is half of the lifetime value. Anything that would be above 225, which is the lifetime value of a new customer, would be an investment with a negative return for Apple. So, as I said, the numbers would be there and would be easy to calculate it. But when we look at music, that's not really the case. When it comes to, especially to recorded music, the calculation becomes much more difficult or almost impossible, since people are not consuming music in one place, but in so many places. I don't know the total number of DSPs that are available on the market. I don't know it by heart, but what I do know is that Linkfire landing pages connect fans to over 250 music services and retailers. So if you're a musician or a music marketeer trying to find out or to make these calculations, you would have to map the data of over 250 applications or places where people consume music. So I think it's fair to say that music data is fragmented. This is I would say it's a graph that I found the most up-to-date stat that I could find on streaming data on the streaming market, where we can see that Spotify leads with over 32% the market. So this is in number of how many subscribers the different DSPs have, followed by Apple, Amazon, and so forth. So also important to notice here is that 9% of the market is covered by smaller streaming services that are niche streaming services, either because they operate in a region that is smaller, or they're popular in a region that is smaller because they have some technology that is very niche. Think here, I know, Angami, Boomplay, and so forth. So yeah, music data is fragmented. That's fair to say by now. We agree it is very fragmented, and the calculations are difficult. It's maybe some would even say that it's siloed. At least that's a word that it's used more by data geeks, let's say. But on top of the fact that it lives in different applications and that it is generated in different places, we're also looking at differences in names, like in how the data sets, the naming conventions, and including in the data events that are being tracked. Let's think here just pre-save and pre-add, or there's a love and there's a like. So all this makes music data pretty siloed. I would even say it is opaque, or has historically been opaque, as it's been difficult to understand the definitions of some of the data events. So the problem, clear. What's the solution? Are we doomed? Will we never be able to understand this data? To quote one of my colleagues, the solution is maybe not to fight the fragmentation, but to embrace it and work with it. That's the industry, that's how it operates, that's how it works. I think it's a good thing that there are many players. That also means that there is competition and they are challenging each other. I do have some good news, and that is that in the past years, more services have shown, let's say, disponibility or availability to share that data. Of course, not among themselves, because that would make no sense, but with a neutral player, let's say, on the market. And so when we're looking at, again, at the graph that I shared before, we can see that I marked over here in green applications or DSPs that are sharing data. And they are sharing that data with the company that I represent, with Linkfire. As of now, we can map over 25% of the streaming market. And we are working really hard on mapping that data from where the origin of the traffic comes from to where the user or where the fan goes to consume that music. Of course, the data is different from each of the partnership, but most of them are streams, plays, follows, add to library, and so forth. So we're really excited about this, and we hope that more players in the industry will follow the trend to open up their data sources and just allow musicians and their teams to have access to or to be able to map this and to understand what works and what doesn't work, and to help them spend money more efficiently. That being said, you're probably wondering, okay, that's the situation right now, but how do people work at the moment? And most of you, or some of you, probably also sit in either in artist management teams or artists yourself, or in labels, and are wondering what are the best practices. How do music marketing teams measure success today with the setup that is available to them? The answer is it depends. It depends on the team. It depends on their marketing strategy. It depends on their budget. It also depends quite a lot on the maturity of their marketing efforts. In order to try to answer that, I've decided to show with you a graph that it's actually featured from a Medium article by Amber Horsberg. And what this shows is how, let's say, the most proficient or the most mature marketing teams are measuring success. So the author has spent over 10 years in various labels, and for the past years or so, she's been creating content to sort of share insights with how the labels are working, and how they are looking at music data, but also how they are breaking budgets and running artist marketing. I really enjoy her content, and I linked from the slides to this article. I strongly recommend that you check it out. So when a label evaluates if a campaign is successful or not, they basically work with a group or with a cocktail of metrics, depending on how large the artist is, and they have some metrics that are stronger at predicting connections to revenue, and other metrics that inform other decisions. And so, for example, if what we can see over here is that there's this axis that predicts, it's basically how strong the metric has a connection to revenue prediction. And we have, of course, return on investment on the top higher up, and consumption, return on digital spend. And then on the lower side, we have sentiment and buzz, which are more metrics that inform other decisions. Now, the scope of this webinar is not to geek out about metrics and data, although I'd love to do that, and maybe we do it in another session. I just wanted to share with you how proficient teams, let's say, look at metrics. And on the next slide, I'm going to go a little bit more in depth into some of these metrics. But the main takeaway from this one is check out the blog, and see also what other content Amber is posting. So now that we know a little bit how labels are mapping revenue to marketing, and we know that some metrics are stronger to understand success or to indicate financial returns, while others inform rather how to work with content or how to work with creatives. I see that there's a lot of questions. That's nice. Hi everyone, looking forward. Okay. So knowing that, might be that you're wondering how do we run marketing for different segments, and how do we move funds, or how do we run marketing when we want to attract funds, and how do we run marketing when we want to engage, and how do we run campaigns, or what kind of campaigns can we run when we want to retain customers. And that's indeed a very good question, because not all funds are the same and they shouldn't be treated equally. I wrote here, there's funds, and then there's funds with capital F. If we were to group funds in a few segments based on their engagement with the artist, we could, on the lower side or the least engaged, we have people who don't know about the artist. They might be listening to the music if it comes their way, but they won't associate, you know, the song, the track, the album with the artist. And they will also not seek your music or attend events nor follow you on social. Then the next group would be passive fans, the ones that listen to the music if it comes their way, if it's part of a playlist or if it's featured in a radio. But they also won't seek the music actively, and it's unlikely that they are going to follow the artist on social media or go to events. Casual fans are the ones who occasionally do some searches or look out for the artist, maybe even follow the artist on social media, and they might consider attend events and buy merch. Engaged fans are the ones who are likely to save your music to their playlist, to create new playlists, to consider attending events, to buy merch, to follow you on socials, to actively seek for your music, actively or to know when is the new album coming out. That would stay in touch with, maybe subscribe to even the email newsletter or go visit the website on a more recurring basis. And then we have super fans, and we like them very much because they are the ones that are actively looking for your music. They are the ones that buy merch and attend events, and most importantly, they are the ones that act as brand ambassadors that promote your music to their friends and family and through their network. And that's really powerful. Yeah, so the question is, how do we move people from one level to another? It doesn't always mean that if today you didn't know about an artist, you can't be a very engaged fan tomorrow. It can happen. It's not one, but like the move, it's from one level to the next. It can be that somebody jumps from being a passive fan that has a very good experience with the brand or with the artist and becomes a super fan. But more often than not, people move from one level to the other one. Another way I like to look at this is this fan pyramid. That is, another model to classify fandom into segments. The reason I like it because it indicates also how large the pool is, or how large the segment is. So you have more people that don't know about the brand, the artist, then you have also more passive fans than super fans. So super fans are usually the smallest segment that you work with, and the ones that deserve also the most love. So next, I would like to spend some time telling you how can we move people from strangers to passive, from passive to casual, and so forth. And to do this, I've prepared a few key strategies and also some key performance indicators, some metrics that you can track and follow when running campaigns. And I'm gonna go through each of them one by one. When we want to move strangers to get to know us, into passive fans, the keyword here, or what we want to do, is to attract them. When we want to move passive fans into casual fans, we want to engage with them. When we want to get more engaged fans, or we also want to convert them, to get them to do a certain action. And super fans, we want to keep them happy, to retain them, to delight them. For all of them, or covering all of the levels, there will be some breakdown campaigns that I hope you will enjoy. Okay. So, how do we move strangers into passive fans? We've just said that strangers are people who do not associate the brand with, or the music with the artist, and passive fans are more likely to associate, to have an association between the song or the album and the artist. Some ways to do that. There's many ways, of course, and here we're talking about attracting fans, acquiring fans, and another keyword is just awareness. Build awareness among them, be where they are. A good way is to be featured in playlists, of course, playlists that are relevant to your fan profile. So it's good to know what would be your personas, what kind of interest do your fans have, what kind of music do they listen to, so you can pitch to playlist curators for playlists that are relevant for your fans. Then a good way to get more exposure and gain more awareness for your brand is to collaborate with well-known artists, either you locally or even globally, if your focus is more on digital. Performing at venues, if your focus is more on local marketing, and on digital lookalike campaigns on social media and social campaigns, especially campaigns where you also invite the fans to do something. And this is an idea where you can involve your existing fans to create some content and have them acquire new fans for you. Some metrics on this side, when you're looking to attract new fans, how do you measure if you're doing a good job at that? You could be looking into, there's several things, of course, but in terms of playlists, a good metric is to get a sense of what real estate do you have on the playlists that are for your genre or for that your fans are following. Then it's very important to know how many people do you reach with your campaigns, what's the total number of people, and click-through rate. It's another metric that indicates is the content that you're putting out, being that campaigns, advertisement, pictures, videos, are people engaging with it, or smart links? Is it attractive? Is it catchy? Does it get their attention? And then watch time. If you're working with video content, watch time is a good metric to understand if your content gets people to stay and gets people to click. If we're looking to move then passive fans into casual fans, the keyword here is exposure. Be where they are, but also just be there more often, more frequently. So post more often, but also being again in the playlists that they are likely to follow. Social advertising and campaigns such as retargeting campaigns, or retargeting campaigns, for those of you who are not familiar with the term, are basically campaigns in which you show an ad to somebody who has visited one of your assets, being that could be your website, could be your store, could be a smart link that you have used when you release new music. If somebody has visited that, you can place a pixel on your website or on your smart links, and you can run retargeting campaigns to those visitors. Usually those campaigns are more economic and have click-through rate much higher than campaigns that you run to complete strangers, because those people are already familiar to your brand. Then content, it's important at this stage also, if you're looking to activate fans and to get them to remember you and to listen to your music from time to time, you need to be where they are, and you need to be there with attractive content. So good music videos, lyric videos, behind the scenes, personal stories are some good ideas of content. Also, music links and pre-release ticket links are good types of content to share to with your fans, especially because they are very focused on one action usually. So you don't lose them on with too many, let's say, distractions or with too many requirements from them. You tell them, pre-save my song here, listen to my song here, and within one click they get what they expect. What metrics can we look at when trying to engage fans? Playlist real estate, it's again here. Playlists are important. Social reach is again here, and you can increase this, as I said, through advertisement campaigns and through more posts and through posts that are engaging. You also want to measure if your followers growth is, if your community is growing, being that on social medias, but also on DSPs. You want to measure how many monthly listeners you have, because if you get more casual fans that are listening to your music, then even if they are not listening every month, they're still going to contribute to the total number of listeners that you have in 1 month. Click-through rate again, because it indicates if your assets, if your creatives are good, if they're straightforward, if they are catchy. And if you are at the point where you also want to calculate what's the best, or at least to benchmark which campaigns are bringing you more listener, or which are more economic, which channels are more economic, cost per listener, it's a good metric. And I'm excited about this part. Let's move into campaign breakdown, just to take a little bit of a break in between the more theoretical parts. I put together an example of a campaign. It's actually a bit of an older campaign from Tash Sultana. It's a Facebook lookalike campaign that I just mentioned previously. And I think her marketing team are quite good at working with videos. I've looked at several of their campaigns. So let's see what did they do. I think this was ran in 2019, so it was the times when people still did shows out. So concerts were still available all over the world, or possible. But very interestingly, this campaign happened about 2 months after her album Flow State was released. And what they did was that they posted a video of her performing a song of the album. And then they boosted that video with a little bit of, I don't know how much, because I don't have that insight, but they boosted that video with some budget, so they get more exposure on it. And once that happened, the video actually reached 1 million views. How they've targeted over there, I think those have been some intelligent decisions. They have targeted, of course, her own followers, but also they've targeted followers of similar artists, so artists from the same genre, from the same from festivals where she has been invited, music outlets on Facebook. And once that video reached, that was step 1, the video reached over 1 million views. They moved to phase 2, which was to target these people who have watched the video previously with a lookalike campaign. So a lookalike campaign is a campaign that is created. They actually targeted everybody who watched the video for at least 3 seconds, but they've also targeted. They've also created a similar group. So a lookalike campaign, it's creating a group or a segment of people who have similar characteristics as a group that you already have some information about. So on Facebook, they already had information about the people who have engaged with the video. So they managed to create a lookalike of similar people, and they have targeted them with an ad focused on selling merchandise. They've also, of course, targeted her own followers. And the ad exposure of that drove over 1,000% increase in conversion, and it resulted in $11,000 in incremental sales on their merch that wouldn't have happened otherwise. So this happened in between releases. There was nothing new, nothing much going on, but I think they've done really great with using some content that they had from a previous previous recording or a previous show. They haven't stopped there though. They moved with phase 3, and they wanted to see, is this something that we could maybe, like, could we reach more people? Could we try to see if this lookalike audience can be even larger if we go at a global level? And so over here, they build a lookalike on a regional level, and with phase 3, they built a lookalike at a global level, and it worked. I have all these numbers because this is a case study that Facebook are also very proud of. I haven't worked directly with the campaign, so I wouldn't be able to know the numbers otherwise. Another example or another campaign from the same artist, more recent one. I think this one is about, it happened last year when people were, at home, inside the house, not being able to go to, I don't know, festivals or parties or concerts. So they ran this campaign that was focused on one particular single from an album that she was working on. The single is called Pretty Lady. And basically what they did was they started with a teaser a few days before releasing the single video again. I think, honestly, it's quite, it doesn't seem like a very, like a sophisticated production, let's say. And once I assume they have, I do not know, as I said, I have not worked with them, but given the number of views, I assume that they have boosted this content as well. And after they have dropped that sort of teaser, the artist went on social media and posted a video inviting her followers to compete in this challenge called Pretty Lady Challenge, and share with her how they dance on this new single, which is quite a danceable song. So a few days later, they've reposted or they've put together a collage of people's videos or videos that were shared that again got some boost. And towards the end of the campaign, the artist again posted a small video of her playing the song, an acoustic version of the song, and invited her followers to tag a friend to participate in this campaign. Last but not least, they've announced the winner, and the winner received there was a prize, and there's been a small video of the winner posted, and it's just been a really interesting way of engaging with fans, getting them to create content and getting them to recruit more people and share the song and recruit their friends, or recruit, engage their friends or ask their friends to join the campaign. That being said, let's get back. In terms of results, as I said, I have not worked directly with the artists, so I don't know all the results, but I could see that on Facebook, these 5 videos got over 1.4 million views on Facebook only. I don't know if they have run this challenge on other platforms. And as of today, the song has 38 million Spotify streams. So that's 1 year of data. Yeah. Going back to, so those were some examples of how to use your fans to attract new fans, but also how to use lookalike audiences, again, data of your existing fans to attract new fans and to engage with maybe more passive fans. What if you're looking into converting and your goals are, yeah, you're looking into getting casual fans into being more engaged and you want them to convert or to take a certain action? What kind of campaigns and what kind of metrics should you be looking into? Content, again, it's very important at this stage as well. So it is important across, but it is different types of content that one works with, especially the brand narrative and what you stand for and who you are, and yeah, the story behind the music, behind the song or an album is also important, and it's important to share it with your audience because they resonate, and it gives more of a, yeah, there's more elements to connect, let's say. Music videos, lyric videos, behind the scenes, again, as examples. Music links, I cannot stress enough how important it is to give frictionless experience to people that are not that committed to spend time on finding that new album. You might remind them that it's coming out or that it's coming out in 2 days, but if there's no link over there for them to click on, there's no clear call to action, or they have to go through 3-4 clicks to listen to it, you might lose them. It's quite likely that you're going to lose them. Some metrics over here that indicate if your content is strong or click-through rate. Again, social reach is important. How many people are seeing the content that you're sharing? Followers growth, because the more engaged followers or the more engaged fans you have, your follower or your growth on DSPs and social media should reflect that if you're doing a good job at engaging. And the same with monthly listeners. Oh, now I see that I use click-through twice here. And cost per listener is also an important metric here as well. Last but not least, how do we look at delighting fans? How do we work with getting fans who are super engaged to become, who are very engaged to become super engaged and become advocates? And on this side, I think I'm already happy if you treat them differently, and if you know that there are several types of fans, and yeah, you create campaigns with them in mind. So content again, but with engaged fans, you actually have an opportunity to ask them to take different actions, because they care more about you. They've already interacted with your brand. They've already followed you on social and on DSPs. So you can go ahead and ask them to buy a ticket to a performance, or you can ask them to subscribe to your email newsletter, because it's more likely that they are going to accept that invitation. So that's why first party data becomes so crucial here. What do I mean by this? Data that you have from fans, or that you have about fans, that you own, and there's no middleman in between, meaning it's not social media followers, but it's rather your email subscribers, your phone, or if people give you their email, their phone number, so you have a direct path of communicating with them without anybody putting anything in between you. Then in order also to get fans to become super fans or to retain super fans, it's very important to make them to feel special, and to encourage them to also generate content, because through that, you also help them say something about themselves. So yeah, maybe later on I can share some examples. But user-generated content also works really well. And the tried path, but still very good, surprise them with special content, surprise them with unreleased videos, with free merchandise. And Zoom calls, it's something that I've seen, especially in the past year. So whatever crosses your mind that you know it can make your fans feel special and feel connected to you. Engagement rate, it's important here. It's important to know if what you're putting out, if the content that you're putting out gets clicks, gets seen, if people react, if people share it. It's important also the buzz element, and to go a tiny bit back to engagement rate, that also it also shows if people interact with your content. It shows if how many impressions it gets, and it gives a signal if a campaign has that stickiness element, if it's likely that it's gonna work. Buzz, it's not a metric, but what I mean with this is it's important to know what's the total number of times that you as an artist are being mentioned on the internet or on social media platforms. Because if you do nice things for your fans, if you interact with them, if you engage with them, then it's likely that they're going to share that as well. And through that, you're going to attract other fans and so forth. So it's not a strong metric as such, and I guess for many would be not even a metric, or they would say it's quite a vanity metric, but it does show a little bit of virality, or yeah, it does show if people are you know, are up to, or if you're still in their radar, let's say. Let's look into some campaign breakdowns. I have two that I've prepared for this phase. Oh, I was hoping that this is not gonna show at the same time, but okay. So one campaign is from Within Temptation, and this is a really recent campaign that they ran. It's a Black Friday discount, most likely targeting engaged fans. So they have this show, which is a virtual reality show that they filmed, or that was released back in July, I believe. It's called The Aftermath. And with this campaign, basically what they've looked into doing was to reattract or to get more people to basically buy access to this show. So what they did was that 6 days pre-Black Friday, they did a quick teaser or a small teaser with, and I've included here screenshots of their Facebook and Instagram posts. So 6 days before or pre-Black Friday, they've released this teaser. So it's a small part of the video explaining that you can get access to the show at a discounted price, and that it's, you know, it's within a timeline and so forth. Then 5 days, so the day after, they've reminded people, and for this they used the lead singer has had a small video recorded explaining what are you getting and what are you getting access to. 4 days before, they used simple, I would say, yeah, image, again, just reminding people that that you can get a discount. And 2 days before, they've tried another type of visual where, again, they reminded people that you can get a discount before, or it's a Black Friday discount. And as you can see in all of them, they've used a call to action, which is a URL. So all these URLs have linked to a landing page like this, which is a type of landing page that it's actually created through Linksire. It's called a reward link or link type. And in order to unlock unlock access to, or to get access to this discount or to the coupon code, people had to do one of these two things, either to follow them on Spotify or to subscribe to their newsletter. So this is clearly a type of campaign that targets people who are ready to do that. And I cannot share the numbers or the results because that's of course confidential. They've ran this through our platform and we don't do those kind of things. But I can just tell you that that the numbers were positive and in the thousands. So a really nice way to engage with existing customers and to use something that it's an event that everybody knows about. And yeah, you can also do engage your audience in this kind of events. And then the last example, it's actually an example from it's quite a small band from I think it's from Slovakia. And what I'm going to present here is just the release campaign. In theory, there's nothing very special about this. They use very beautiful, I believe they use very beautiful visuals. I say there's nothing special in the sense that there's no big budget, there's no very thought through creatives. Maybe that's not a good way to say it, but it's just marketing simple and done well. So let's go through the campaign. They had a release scheduled. I think that this was back in May, and 18 days before the release, they announced that there's a release coming out, and they used a pre-release link to invite people to pre-save this to their streaming services before the single comes out. It was a pre-release for one single. Then, just a moment. Then, this got stuck. 13 days before, they posted the behind the scenes, some behind the scenes content. Again, a very nice image of themselves. 11 days, they pushed a video teaser telling people that there's this release coming and it comes with a video and they are excited about it. Again, they used the pre-save link over there. 8 days before, they did a reminder. So this is a bit of a mix of their Facebook and their Instagram. They've used them both. 6 days before, they announced the merch in connection to this release. 3 days before, they got a radio interview. 2 days before they did a final reminder, and then on release day, of course, they did posts about it and dropped the video with the release, the link with the release. 1 day post release, they've updated their bio link with the latest artwork and directed people to stream their new song. So all this in terms of results brought them about 10,000 streams on Spotify. They got features on some curated playlists in Czech Republic and Slovakia, and they even got a few PR mentions and interviews. So really sweet and thought through campaign. That was it. That's what I had prepared. I see that there's a lot of questions in the chat, so I'm gonna stop sharing and move to the questions part. Harry, can you maybe help me see if there's any common topics among the questions, or were people mostly introducing themselves?
Yes. And first, before I do, let me just, if I say it once, I say it 1,000 times. Thank you so much, Simona, today for taking the time out and sharing your expertise on the topic. Really great stuff here. And I thank you all for being attentive, because this is really great stuff. Hope you're taking notes. And if not, we'll be posting this, just a reminder, posting this recording of this webinar on our website. One question in the chat, we have two in our Q&A box here, but the first one in the chat is regarding the Tash Sultana case study. If this is something you can share, good to know what the budget for the campaign would be, to know what the ROI was. For example, the first one made about $11,000 in merch sales, but how much did they spend on the ad campaign?
Yeah, and as I said, I was not involved in the campaign. I found this case study with all the explanation of how it was ran on as a case study by Facebook. So I don't know how much they've spent. But what I can say is that I think they took some very intelligent decisions in how they use the lookalike audiences, and how they haven't stopped after having used the lookalike audience once. They've tried to go and see, can we replicate this and do it globally as well, as it worked locally. So from how they presented the case study, I hear that 11,000 happened on top of their regular sales, but I don't know how much they spend to attract that.
Thank you, Simona. We have another question in the queue here. Does Linkfire support Audius links?
Sorry, what kind of links?
Audius links, AUDIUS.
Maybe I'm not familiar with Audius.
But perhaps we can connect y'all after the session and get an answer over to that. I'll make sure to make a note of that. Another question, which kind of builds on something that was answered in the chat. I'm a music producer who works with international artists. How can I use Linkfire to find new clients? And on the artist end, someone in the chat asked, and we got an answer on that. Is this suited for folks working with a label, or is this good for up and coming artists? And the answer in there was, Linkfire is scalable. So if you want to speak to that as well, feel free.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have people who are artists themselves, we have labels, but we also have agencies that use Linkfire. So if you're supporting artists with their marketing campaigns, or was it a distributor, or well, can you just repeat what was the nature of the business of the
music producer for the first?
Music producer, yeah. So I mean, it's for you could be that you're helping artists to create assets through Linkfire, and in a way that for your business it's a point of differentiation, because you can offer them landing pages, bio links, and so forth for their releases. So they don't have to spend either they don't spend that money in another place, or they have really professional landing pages out of the box, or that you can provide to them, and you can create for an unlimited number of artists. So you can totally join for a trial, or just reach out afterwards, and we're gonna contact you to tell you more.
Looks like as we're wrapping up on 3 o'clock Eastern on the dot here, all of our questions are answered. Folks, feel free to reach out at the end, and we'll be sure to connect you with the Linkfire team in case there's any questions. As I mentioned, this session will be posted to our website, musicbiz.org, for folks looking to relive the session and take some notes that they may have missed. But once again, thank you, Simona. Thank you, Linkfire, for taking the time presenting today. Thrilled to have you, and more than happy to welcome y'all to the next Common Ground webinar series session.
Thank you all. Thank you for your time. Have a good rest of the day.
Everyone take care.